When I was in Bergen-Belsen, and when I was sick on the typhus, it wasn't just me, it was a lot of girls. Even Anne Frank was in Bergen-Belsen. She died not for hard work, or just for starvation. Because this was a camp, they starved you out. They didn't give you work just for starvation. For this reason, it was so many dead bodies in Bergen-Belsen. When you go to the museum in Washington, and you see the pictures from Bergen-Belsen, and you see the ditches, what they have, and how they're putting in the dead people, it's unbelievable. She died just 4 weeks before the liberation, Anne Frank. She was with her sister over there in the same camp. She died over there. Because just of starvation, not for something else, you know. When they came later, an inspection came to look from the Germans, from that town, from Bergen-Belsen. They brought over the mayor, they brought over a lot of people over there to see. And when they saw the dead people, they said, we didn't know what goes on here. We didn't know that. They didn't know. They knew everything. They didn't want to know. They didn't want to know. But they knew that that camp is like a death camp. They didn't. When I was in Transtechhof, and this was in 1943, right the beginning of 1943. We worked already in the Hassak over there. We went out to work. One day, they said, you're not going to work. They took us on the square, and to everyone they said, the Germans surrounded us, and they said, everyone who has jewelry, money, and they went around with a basket, and you should everything throw in there. Everything. Everyone still had a ring, earrings, or something. We had everything to give it to them. And they went over and they searched you, to everyone. They searched you. There was one guy, he was maybe 10 steps away from me. A young guy, not a tall one. He was really a short guy. And he had a pistol in his pocket. And he knew when they will come over and they search him, he will be dead anyway. He will be dead. Then he was a brave guy. He took out that pistol. And the German's name was Soppert. Everybody knew him. He was a terrible guy. And when he came over, he took out the pistol and wanted to kill him. But it didn't work. Then he was so frustrated that he couldn't do it. He went over.
The pistol didn't fire?
Didn't fire it. Maybe he was shaking too much. How did I know? I didn't. Then he was so frustrated, he went over to that German and took his finger and he really bit him. You know, really. He really bit him.
He bit the
German's finger. He knew the pistol didn't went off. He didn't know what to do. Then at least he went over and bit his finger. You know, the German for weeks went around with they bandaged his hand. For weeks he went around like this. What they did, they took him, there was in the square in Transtechhof, and there was one house that has a little balcony on the first floor. They took and they tied him with his leg down, the head down, not with the head up, with the head down. And they let him hang a little bit like this, and then they killed him.
How did they kill him?
With a pistol. They killed him with a rifle, with a pistol, I don't know. They killed him. They took out 20 good-looking men. I tell you, everyone was maybe about 6 feet, such good-looking, tall, good-looking men. They put them to the wall, and they killed all 20 men over there. And they hold a whole speech. They said, you see, when you want to be against the Germans, or you want to do something, this will happen to you. Because a lot of people ask the question, why you didn't try to do something? Why you went like the sheeps? It's very good to tell somebody else, the one what stays for you has the gun, and you have nothing, then you couldn't do. Why you didn't make a resistance? Why you didn't do this? With what? With your bare hands? You couldn't do nothing with your bare hands.
That's right.
You know? Then how? I saw after the war, when the Germans, when the Americans and the British and the other one, when the Germans were captured, they went just like we went.
Oh, sure.
Just the same. When you took away from them the rifles and the guns and the thing, they wasn't such big shots. They wasn't such big shots.
That's right.
It's very good to say, no, a lot of people say, why the Jews went like the sheep? They went and they didn't resist nothing. It shows you. It was one guy, what he wants to do something, to at least to kill a German. At least one.
Yeah.
Maybe he would be satisfied. He knew when they find a pistol, they will kill him anyway. So what is the difference? And you see, and it didn't work. It didn't work.
Too bad.
It's really too bad. It was a lot of things what people tried to do, to try to sabotage, but it didn't work. Their machinery was much bigger. We didn't have nothing. And then you have to know, the Polish people didn't help us either. The Polish people, they want to get rid of all the Jews too. The same thing like the Germans. Hitler was thinking that he will make Judenrein, you know?
Yes.
He was thinking,
yeah.
But he didn't. It's just like Elie Wiesel said, I wrote it on here. He said, not every victim was a Jew, but every Jew was a victim. Every Jew was a victim. Mm-hmm. You know? This is it. You couldn't help it. Just because, let's be my father is 37, my mother was 39. What? They did a crime? They didn't do nothing. They just were killed because they are Jewish. That's all.
That's right.
This is the thing. Just because they were Jewish. This is because 6 million went. And it's still there. A lot of professors, it's still there. A lot of people, but they say the Holocaust never happened. They still say. It's good. It's still there, a few survivors. But the survivors could tell the story that it really happened. Maybe the historian later will have what to show to them, that it really happened. But a lot of people, it's still there, but they don't believe it happened. Even in Germany, even here in the United States.
Yeah,
a lot of people here would think that this could never happen. Believe me, it could happen here too.
We sure have documentation.
When it gets bad in the country, and you have a good speaker, but he could brainwash you, like Hitler brainwashed his people. Somebody by the door, you could make it. No, because
go ahead.
They say why we didn't resist. That's what I just want to tell you. We didn't resist. We didn't have with what to resist. We didn't have the guns. We didn't have the ammunition. We didn't wear fighters. But they killed the Jewish people just because they were Jews. They didn't kill them because they did a crime. Somebody did a crime. I could understand that. It has to be punished. But the Jews were just killed because their name was Jews. Has nothing to do. Polish people went too, but they went because they did a crime. They did something. Or they helped the Jew, or they went and robbed something, or they killed somebody. They were killed. But they weren't killed because they're Polish, but the Jewish people, they dig them out. Even the ancestors was Jewish. and they knew that this person is Jewish, then it's the same place, the same thing. And I hope that it doesn't happen no more. I was thinking after the war that this will never happen again. But I tell you, when it goes bad in a country, and when you have a good speaker, I'm saying again, and could brainwash the people, like Hitler brainwashed his own people. It was even in Germany. A lot of parents were afraid for their own children. In the Hitlerjugend, they were afraid. They wasn't for him, for Hitler, but the kids were. Yeah. They liked to do that. Like they had in November 1938, the Crystal Night. They liked to go in and to shatter all the windows and to take out all Jewish books and to burn them and to do this. We just have to see that somebody, how could I say, that shouldn't happen this again, but it could happen again. I say it, it could happen. It gets bad in the country, then right away, the Jews. The Jews have the money, the Jews has this, but it's not true. It's not true. It is not the true. Jewish people are just working people. They try to make a nice life for the family. They try to educate the kids. They don't go so much on welfare. They don't, things. We came out from a concentration. We didn't have nothing. Then we went on welfare. We didn't win. We tried how to come into the society. We were thinking that we will not be able to come into the society because for 5 years we didn't know how to hold a fork and how to hold a spoon because we didn't know. You didn't brush your teeth. You went to bed without washing.
Yeah.
You was living like an animal. We weren't animals. We were human beings. But they treat us worse than an animal. And it's very hard for people to understand that. Because they say, no, this couldn't happen. How could one human being to the other do such horrible things? But I tell you, when I would say with you a whole night, I wouldn't even tell you a quarter what we went through, me and my husband. And not just me, every survivor has a different story. Every survivor has a different thing. People were hidden, people did things, it's unbelievable. And that's it.
But thank goodness they're talking about it now. After so many years of being silent, it's so wonderful. It's so good.
I probably for 30 years, I didn't even talk about the Holocaust. The beginning, I didn't even want my children to know about the Holocaust. Why? Because I was afraid to give in a fear to my kids. I really was afraid. The only problem I always had with my daughter, everybody has a grandma, everybody has a grandpa. Why I don't have a grandma? Why I don't have a grandpa? I said, Ava, when you will be later, older, I will explain why your grandparents are not alive. I cannot explain to you now. The same was to my son, and the same was to my daughter. I didn't want to give them in a fear in their life that they have to fear to go at night to sleep. Maybe the Germans will come in and take them. Every survivor took the story and stored it in their brains and put it in the back of the head.
That's right.
And didn't want to know. But later on, when the kids got bigger, and the survivors start to come out. They didn't come out at the beginning. No one wanted to talk about it. Because it was so fresh. It was so thin. They couldn't even, they choked themselves when they start talking about it.
Sure.
The only good thing happened to me when I met my husband and we came to the United States, and my husband didn't want to be in Europe. He tried everything to get up to Europe, because he didn't want that the kids should go through the same what we went through. He didn't want it. He said, we go to the United States, over there is safe, and we will make our life here. And thank God we came here. We worked very, very hard for everything. We didn't have no one to give us. We didn't have a mother. We didn't have a father. But we did. My husband worked not on one job, on 2 jobs, on 3 jobs. I worked, and we sent our kids to school. We sent them to college. And we never give them enough fear in their life. Never. Really. And thank God, they're both children are very, very nice. And I am really grateful to the United States that they took us in and we made our life here. To be free, because here everybody could express their own opinion. It's not, in Europe you're still there, but you cannot say what you want to say. No. But some people say, I don't like the United States. In case you don't like, go back to Europe and see how it's over there. Then maybe when you come back you will appreciate. I appreciate every moment what I am here. And I am very, very grateful for that. Thank you.